This week on Premier Preps, we've got section semifinal football between Vanden and West Park. Our first bit of basketball coverage, we check out Sac High and Destiny Christian boys and Whitney and Franklin girls. Plus, we bring you the story of Woodcreek cheerleader Gabby Bertelsen, whose battle with scoliosis hasn't kept her from competing on a national stage. You are watching Premier Preps. Welcome to another episode of Premier Preps. I am your host, Nick Pecoraro. Thank you, as always, for hanging out on your Sunday evening. Premier Preps is sponsored by Premier Championship Rings. It's championship season, and my friend Bob Sebring has been in the business for more than 3 decades, helping design and craft some incredible jewelry for dozens of championship teams right here in the Sac-Joaquin Section. Check out what I'm talking about by visiting premiergradproducts.com, which also happens to be your source for all your graduation necessities. Caps, gowns, tassels, announcements, and much more, including custom championship bling from Premier Championship Rings, an official sponsor of Premier Preps. We kick off this week with a Sac-Joaquin Section semifinal football action between third-seeded Vanden and second-seeded West Park. The Vikings have won 2 section crowns over the past 3 years, 5 overall, while the Panthers are looking for their first section finals berth in the brief history of the school. Vanden and West Park for a chance to go to the Division III championship game Friday in Roseville. The weather outside was frightful, but a chance to play in the section finals would be so delightful. West Park and Vanden in the D3 semis. The first quarter was rather clear and dry. West Park going for it on 4th down in Vanden territory, but Jamarion Grace is there to buckle the seatbelts and give the ball back to the Vikings. On Vanden's opening possession, senior Zach Taya brings the ball inside the West Park 5, and that sets up his QB, Kalani McLeod, for a 1-yard keeper, and Vanden jumps in front 7-0 early on. At the start of the second quarter, Vanden punting, but a high snap leads to Briggs Bevins chasing down Anthony Clater for a big 4th down stop for the Panthers, but penalties back the Panthers up big time. The rain is pouring now, and Vanden comes up with a defensive stop of its own. Davion Williams says, "Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting quarterbacks." The sack pushes West Park even further back, but QB Jaden Jackson is there to make up some yards and then some from his own 10, just chugging his way toward midfield and getting a Panther first down. But the Vanden defense would hold steady as Jaden Marquez Cook comes away with the INT. He returns it deep into Panther territory with under a minute to play in the half. His quarterback, Kalani McLeod, takes over from here. McLeod, one of the section's top passers, finds Chris Clark for a 26-yard score, and the Vikings take a 14-0 lead into the break. Third quarter, Panthers come out fired up. They do not want this to be their last game. Guy Rosano comes down with a huge interception, just what the doctor ordered for West Park. Rosano's first interception of the year could not come at a better time. On the ensuing drive, Ben Osby busts through for a 2-yard score. We've got ourselves a ball game, folks, 14-7. Not much doing from either team in the rain in the second half, but West Park's Harrell Greer brings the thunder and gets a crucial 4th down stop. Last chance for West Park, down 7 with 2 minutes to play. Jaden Jackson, again making magic with his feet, scrambling for a first down and getting out of bounds to stop the clock. The Panthers can tie or go ahead with the score here, but on 4th down, Vanden comes through with the stop and holds on to win 14-7 and go back to the section finals for the 3rd time in 4 years.
I think just passion and playing with grit. Our defense really stepped up to the plate, and defense won championships, and that's good for them. It's very harsh conditions. We practiced in this, so it helped us a lot last year. Coming to Roseville, we lost in these conditions, so it feels great coming back here next year and winning the game.
We are down to the section finals. Let's take a look at what's going on around the Sac-Joaquin Section playoff picture. Who's making a championship run in the race for the ring, presented by Premier Championship Rings. It'll be Folsom and Oak Ridge for the third straight year in the Division I finals. The Bulldogs looking for their fourth straight title and 11th since 2010. The D2 final is a rematch of last year's NorCal championship, and it'll be rockin' as Rockland hosts Grant. The Thunder looking to go back-to-back, and the Pacers looking for a three-peat. We showed you Vanden getting back to the section finals. They won it all in 2021 and 22. Top-seeded Oakdale stands in their way. Both teams looking for banner number 6. In D4, 12 Bridges is in the section finals with an unbeaten record for the second straight year. They look to finish the job this year against second-seeded Patterson. The Houston Huskies looking for a Section 3-peat, while the Sutter Huskies have won 14 Northern Section titles before joining the SJS 3 years ago. Bradshaw Christian lost a heartbreaker in the finals last year. They look to finish the job against Sonora, which won its last title in 2015. And in D7, top-seeded Somerville seeks its first ever section championship, while Stone Ridge Christian of Merced looks for its third in the past decade. The race for the ring is presented by Premier Championship Rings. Visit premiergradproducts.com and celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship Rings, the choice of champions. Let's take a look at who we've got in our Premier Preps Top 10 football rankings as we enter the section championships next weekend. You know that feeling when you win it all? When you become a champion. Now you can celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship Rings. Bob Sebring has designed custom championship bling for more than 30 years and has been the trusted source for crafting priceless jewelry that tells the story of your team's championship journey. From football in the fall to baseball in the spring and everything in between, Premier Championship Rings has designed rings for dozens of local high school programs and even at the collegiate, pro, and youth levels as well. Whether it's a section, regional, or state title, Premier Championship Rings has you covered. So when your team wins the big game, you know what time it is. That's right, it's time to put a ring on it. Celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship Rings, the choice of champions. Well, the fall season is wrapping up. Champions are being crowned. So you know what that means. Winter is officially here, and that means we get to go back inside the gym for some hoops across the Sac-Joaquin section. Tuesday and Wednesday featured foundation games across the section. We start with two of our Premier Preps preseason top 10 boys teams in two-time defending section champs Sac High and Destiny Christian. Both poised to make another deep run into February, but the first steps toward a big season began Wednesday night at Destiny Christian. It doesn't get much better than what we had to start the season. Sac High on a quest for a third straight section title, but Destiny Christian comes into this year hungry for a banner as well. Here we go. DCA comes out swinging in the first. Miles Wiggins with the lob to Jep Tumbala, but Sac answers back with a 3-ball from Ishan Wallace. Destiny without its star player Jalen Valdez on Wednesday, but Danny Panda fills in nicely. The and one finish, and the Lions stay on the hunt. Mohamed Kamara with the 3. Coach Mike Lorente expects a big year from Big Mo. The first quarter finishes with a flurry as Jamari Garrison flies in for the layup, but the Lions close out with a bang as Nick Andriotti beats the first quarter buzzer, and Destiny Christian leads 16-8 after one. Second quarter, we've got a Sir Marius Jones sighting for Sac High. He beats everybody off the dribble. And then here he is again, all alone on the break, getting the hoop plus the harm. He is going to fill a lot of buckets this year, folks. Sac High's within 6. But DCA gets back-to-back threes from Destin Anwanyu to bring it back to a double-digit lead for the Lions. But then Sir Marius Jones beats the halftime horn with a 3, and Sac High is down 7 at the break. Third quarter, more Jones. He's on the attack, getting the tough finish in traffic. But on the response, here come the Lions. Talk about a tough finish. Mohamed Kamara yams it home, much to the home crowd's delight. And then here comes Fred Blue, the lob for Miles Wiggins, who led the Lions with 14 points on Wednesday. Now, Sac High expects a breakout year from this dude, 6'8" freshman P.J. Parker, with a big presence underneath for the Dragons, who now trail by 12 after 3. But in the fourth, Sir Marius Jones becomes a microwave. We've seen him get hot in a hurry. Go check highlights from the Sac High NorCal game last year. The dunk, the 3, and then the heat check right here. Jones scores 10 straight points to get it to a 4-point game. But Mohamed Kamara also had a big fourth quarter. Lions win 62-51. Don't call him Capital Christian anymore. It's Destiny Christian, and it's a new era for this program.
I think it just signifies a year of new beginnings and just a year of growth. So nothing major, just a new name, new colors, but same people, and we're just here to win.
We've got our first look at our preseason boys basketball big picture top 10 presented by LENIE'S Pictures, your source for custom team and individual banners, festive yard signs, and much more. Visit LENIE'Spictures.com to order your memorabilia and book your personalized photo shoots. But for now, check out the preseason big picture top 10 for boys basketball presented by LENIE'S Pictures. Can't get enough high school sports in Sacramento? Well, Premier Preps has got you covered like no one else. You want game highlights? We got you. You want local insight? We got you. You want inspirational feature stories? We've got you. How about exclusive interviews with prominent players and coaches in the area? We got you. Scores, updates, top plays, and much, much more every Sunday at 5 o'clock during the high school season on YouTube. We look back at the week that was and keep you updated on who's got next. So follow along on social media and subscribe on YouTube to Premier Preps with me, Nick Pecoraro, because it's giving Sacramento high school sports the coverage it deserves. We cover all kinds of sports here on Premier Preps, and this next story is no exception. We go to Woodcreek High School, where we find sophomore cheerleader Gabby Bertelsen. You see, Gabby has had to deal with severe scoliosis for most of her life, an ailment that nearly kept her from doing what she loves most, competitive cheer. And Premier Preps has the story of her journey back into realignment. Woodcreek sophomore Gabby Bertelsen has always had a competitive edge about her. And on the Timberwolves dance and all-star cheer teams are where she finds the platforms on which she can show out.
I've just always been super athletic. There's never a time where I can just be sitting on the couch. Like, I'm always having to do something.
All-star cheer is definitely where her heart is. She turns into this confident warrior and just goes out and slays, whether she's on the mat or she's on the field. So yeah, she definitely lights up when she performs.
It makes me feel really accomplished.
But it wasn't long ago that Gabby's ability to perform was in jeopardy due to extreme pain caused by a severe case of scoliosis.
Yeah, so she was first diagnosed when she was 8 years old by her pediatrician. And as we got close to her 13th birthday, it had progressed so significantly that she had a lower curve of 70 degrees and an upper curve of about 55.
My back just hurt constantly. My body was off center, and it was really hard for me to breathe. I had a lot of knee problems because of it, because it offset my whole body. My knees grinded inwards, and I had to wear tape on both of my knees when I competed and all that. That just took a toll on me, mentally and emotionally.
And at that point, the doctor said, well, it's either, you do surgery or you put her in a wheelchair, because that's really where we're going with this.
Doctors recommended an innovative procedure called vertebral body tethering, which, unlike spinal fusion, anchors a flexible cord to the vertebrae, which allows the spine to continue to grow naturally into an upright alignment. But upon hearing that news, Gabby just didn't see that as an option.
At first, I didn't want to get surgery because I didn't want to be out of my sports. I don't want to stop and then have to come back and be a big step back.
Gabby's view was, I would rather die than have surgery. From her perspective, she'd have to give up everything that she loved.
What softened Gabby's stance on surgery was the story of another cheerleader in a similar situation.
We actually read a story of another all-star cheerleader on Shriner's website who had had the similar surgery, and she was actually doing a back tuck in the video. And for her, that sealed the deal for her. She said, okay, fine, I will do it.
And I saw how fast she was back, and I was like, I want this surgery. I was really determined to have it done during that time because our comp season was going to start.
What was remarkable about Gabby's recovery time, after surgery, she was out of the hospital within 48 hours and back to comfortably performing back handsprings on the mat within 5 weeks.
And I think about 2 weeks in, I started doing bridges again, front walkovers and back walkovers, and about 5 to 6 weeks in, I did my first back handspring. And then from there, I just went up.
Right in time for what some consider to be the Super Bowl of competitive cheer.
The end of the year, there's this invitational event called the Summit, and there's thousands upon thousands of cheerleaders that are at that competition, and we got first at that comp.
Gabby says she's grateful to have cheer to help her get through the most challenging times in her life.
I don't know where I'd be. Honestly think that I'd still be having to recover because there wouldn't be that drive for me to want to recover.
She realized this was her testimony. This was hers to share with the world to try to help spread awareness of scoliosis and other treatments out there. If she could help any other kids to not have a fusion and have vertebral body tethering and be able to keep doing what she loves, then she feels like she's achieved a great mission.
There was just that drive to just go back to my sports and come back nothing happened and come back to right where I was.
From Woodcreek High School, I'm Nick Pecoraro, and you are watching Premier Preps. Want to get your student section featured on Premier Preps? All you got to do is tag me on social media, and you can be the next Premier Student Section of the week. Send me a 10 to 15 second clip of your student section going crazy, and we'll see if we can get you featured on the show. This week, we give it to Armijo High School, whose football team made the section playoffs for the first time ever this year. So Royals fans, we're going to travel well. Congratulations, Armijo. You are the Premier Student Section of the week. This past weekend marked the final CIF State Championship matches for girls volleyball, and while there were no Sacramento area teams left in the finals, we have to shout out the Hillmar Yellow Jackets down in the 209 for being the last Sac-Joaquin Section team standing in the state finals. We'll give you a final look at those brackets right now in our Race for the Ring, presented by Premier Championship Rings. It doesn't matter what sport, it doesn't matter what season. You can celebrate like a champion by visiting premiergradproducts.com and ring yourself up with Premier Championship Rings, who helps bring us the Race for the Ring State Finals Edition. In Division 1, after 2 straight years finishing as the D1 runner-up, Palos Verdes defeats Foothill of Pleasanton to claim its first ever state championship. In D2, top-seeded San Ramon Valley holds off the Centennial Golden Hawks of Bakersfield for its first state title in school history. In Division 3, after being a runner-up 3 times previously, Central Valley Christian of Visalia defeats Cupertino's Monta Vista Matadors for the first championship in program history. To D4 now, we told you about Hillmar being the last Sac-Joaquin Section team standing. Well, the Yellow Jackets fell short of their first state title, falling to South Pasadena in the finals. Still, congratulations on a great season for Hillmar. In Division 5, Emmanuel of Reedley knocked off Bradshaw Christian in the NorCal final and kept the train a-rolling by defeating Bell Gardens, the Southern Section D8 champ, for the school's 3rd state title. D6 only goes as far as the regional finals, so your NorCal champion is the St. Vincent de Paul Mustangs out of Petaluma, which defeated San Francisco Waldorf on Tuesday in a North Coast Section championship rematch. And finally, in the big girl division, the team with the most wins in the state, Cathedral Catholic of San Diego, adds to the trophy case with its 7th state championship, taking down the school with the most volleyball titles in state history, Archbishop Mitty. It's the 2nd open division title for the Dons since 2022. Congratulations to all state championship teams. Don't forget, you can ring yourselves up by visiting premiergradproducts.com and celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship rings, the choice of champions. Now that the state finals are officially over, we bring you our final girls volleyball big picture top 10, presented by LENIE'S Pictures, the official photography sponsor for Premier PREPS. Visit LENIE'Spictures.com and use the promo code NP7 for $7 photo downloads exclusively through Premier PREPS. Well, here it is, folks, the final Premier PREPS Big Picture Top 10 Girls Volleyball Rankings presented by LENIE'S Pictures. LENIE'S Pictures is your go-to site for priceless photos and memorabilia. This local family business has captured great action shots for a decade, but there's so much more to offer with a personalized touch for team and individual photos, game day galleries, banners, yard signs, festive mementos for senior nights, team banquets, or even just to cheer your kid on at their games, all 100% custom made by LENIE'S Pictures, any student, any season, any occasion. So make those memories last forever and visit LENIE'Spictures.com and use the promo code NP7 for $7 photo downloads exclusively through Premier PREPS. That's LENIE'Spictures.com, your official photography sponsor for Premier PREPS. We had our first look at some girls basketball this week in a Sac-Joaquin Section Foundation game. The Whitney Wildcats return a ton of players from its 2-time section championship run, and they're looking to get back to the mountaintop. But standing in their way in their season opener was another Wildcats team, the Franklin Wildcats of Elk Grove, which went 19-10 and won the Delta League last year. A catfight between Whitney and Franklin on Tuesday night. The 2-time defending Sac-Joaquin Section champion Whitney Wildcats taking on Franklin in Elk Grove in a season-opening foundation game. A couple big players out for each team to start the year, but one player Whitney's glad to have back is junior Natalia Benavides. In her first game back from ACL recovery, welcome back, Natalia. And here she is again on the receiving end of a Kendall Dykstra steal and deal. Whitney gets off to a 10-0 start to this game. But Franklin gets on the board as Rachel Song buries a triple for the Wildcats of Elk Grove. But the Wildcats of Rockland were swarming on Tuesday. Here's freshman Natasha Sand. Her daddy's a chef, so you know she can get cooking. Whitney leads 15-7 after one. Second quarter, Franklin trying to make a move here. Sophomore Claire Gonzalez gets into the paint for a little teardrop. And on the next trip down, fellow sophomore Karen Nguyen cleans up the offensive miss. The Cats in purple trying to get back in this game. but the Cats in black have other ideas. Check out Zaria Harris just muscling down low for a three-point play, but they were far from finished. Check out the freshman connection. Chanel Lee with the swoop. She feeds Natasha Sand for the scoop. Whitney leads 34-15 at the break. To the third we go. Whitney opening up the outside game now. Natalia Benavidez with a triple. And then this one from freshman Sophia Karzai is no good. But kids, follow your shot and good things will happen. She corrals her own miss and instead gets a three-point play the hard way. On the other end, Franklin trying to stay afloat. They were missing their leading returning scorer, Tatiana Carr. But girls like Maya Mateo were stepping up in her place. And then Kara Nguyen with the shot clock beating floater. Nguyen, Mateo, and Claire Gonzalez each had 7 to lead Franklin. But the theme of the night was Whitney's freshman trio of Sophia Karzai, Natasha Sand, and Chanel Lee. They combined for 25 points in their varsity debuts. But we can't forget about the senior captain, Kendall Dykstra. Or should we call her Kendall Dirkstra with that Nowitzki-esque fadeaway? Is Whitney on a quest for a Section 3-peat?
It was a good start to our season. I think there's a little bit of pressure, but I think we just ignore that and just play hard, play us, and see what we can do.
We gave you our first look at boys basketball rankings earlier in the show, and now we're going to give you a peek at our preseason girls basketball big picture top 10 presented by LENIE'S Pictures. The winter sports season is officially here, so if you haven't already, make sure you order your team and individual banners through LENIE'Spictures.com. And without further ado, our girls basketball preseason big picture top 10 presented by LENIE'S Pictures. Infinite Performance Physical Therapy brings you our Plays of the Week every week here on Premier Preps. Dr. Janae Young works with local student athletes just like yourself all the time. But you don't have to be an athlete. If you're recovering from surgery and you need rehab, or you're just looking for new ways to prevent further injury, make sure you connect with Infinite Performance Physical Therapy and tell them Premier Preps sent you. Hey, don't forget to send me your top plays candidates every week on social media. Just tag me with a short clip, let me know what's going on with the play, and we'll try to get you on the show. Enough talk already. Let's get to our Infinite Performance Plays of the Week. Let's start with some defense. Destiny Christian point guard Fred Blue gets all twisted up in transition, but he recovers nicely for the big rejection. Get that stuff out of here. We're going to give some love to the fundamentals of the game. Whitney freshman Sophia Karzai follows her shot, cleans up her own miss, and gets 3 the old-fashioned way. Nice foundation win for the Wildcats. At number 2, Vanden QB Kalani McLeod hits Chris Clark for a 26-yard score. This is not an easy pass in the pouring rain. Clark with a nice over-the-shoulder grab. Vanden is in the section finals for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. We've got a 2-for-1 dunk package here from Destiny Christian Jr. Muhammad Kamara. Not sure what that rim did to make Muhammad so upset at it. And that, folks, is your Infinite Performance Play of the Week. Well, that does it for episode 14 of Premier Preps. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Next week is a big one, folks. We're going to have Sac-Joaquin Section Championship football coverage from Hughes Stadium at Sacramento City College. Make sure you follow along on social media and check back next Sunday at 5 p.m. for all the highlights. Until then, have a happy and safe Thanksgiving week. We'll see you next Sunday. I'm Nick Pecoraro, and this is Premier Preps.